Hi, I'm Stuart Marcus Cox, and I'll be presenting you state questions 780 and 781. I'd like to start off with a story. I once met a man that was head of security operations at Will Rogers Air National Guard Base, and before he took that position, he was a correctional officer. And he was telling me, about, we need prison reform, and he was telling me that, he would see people with small drug charges stay longer than those people convicted of, rape or, molesting children. And that to me is a little ridiculous. But to move on here. So what we're going to talk about is overpopulated prisons, why people are against 780 and 781, and why people should vote yes for 780 and 781. So this here comes from prisonpolicy.org. And as you can tell, it shows about all the different jails and prisons and everything. And I also got from them that it says here that 1 in 5 people are incarcerated for nonviolent drug offenses, which is pretty high number. Thinking, they didn't really do anything violent. That's pretty high. Also, it states that most youth that are in prison for non-violent drug offenses. And I mean, that seems like a little ridiculous. You would think that, they would try to help these kids out, but which is what 780 and 781 are supposed to do, is to help these people out. Without it, they go in, people think maybe they'll become violent because they went to prison. So moving on to those that are against it, against 780 and 781. I got these I've never really met anyone that's against it, but I got these statements from ballotopedia.org, which is a website that just summarizes ballots for each state, do research, talk to people, find out what they're saying and stuff like that. So it says that people believe this will increase crime since these charges are only misdemeanors, stating that, people won't be afraid they'll get a felony, it's just going to be a misdemeanor. I don't really agree with that. I personally believe that, it might decrease crime since we can help these people out. But we'll get onto that later. People were, were against it because people believe that hard drugs should stay as felonies. That if they're not afraid it's a felony again, that they'll just keep going back to the drug, and we'll talk about that more, which actually leads to this next part of why you should vote yes for 780 and 781. So yeah, like I said, voting yes on 780 and 781 could decrease crime since these questions will allow for rehabilitation. We see with 780, it drops, a lot of charges to misdemeanors. Well, people with felonies, it's hard for them to, get a job and to get a house, reinstate themselves back into society as, just a normal person. So with it firstly reducing these misdemeanors and then having rehabilitation programs can help these people a lot with, financing and getting the help they need. And then secondly, with these people that are caught with hard drugs, get a felony every time they have them, then they'll just end up back in prison because they didn't get the help they wanted. They might just become accustomed to the felony prison life, so they just might, and it might eventually upgrade up to, violent offenses because it's prison's a violent place as it is now. So move on. Conclusion, we went over overpopulated prisons, why people are against state questions, and why people should vote yes for state questions. So come election day, we need to vote yes to help people out that are struggling with rehabilitation after prison, and to keep people out of prison that were already, that have these, that are caught and need to get only misdemeanors and not these hard felony charges.